My girlfriend, Lu Nguyen, the CEO, deducted my entire bonus and used it to buy a car for Dang Ton, the least capable assistant in the company. Then she pretended it was his year-end bonus. That very night, he posted on social media, showing off the car. Grateful to the generous boss, he wrote, and to my own excellence. In the photo, the two of them stood in front of the brand new car, smiling sweetly, his left hand forming a heart. This time, I didn't lose control out of jealousy. I didn't confront her either. Instead, I stayed calm. I used her credit card to buy cars for every colleague in the company, one for each person. I paid in full. Then we all posted together. Thank you to the generous boss. Thank you to the excellence of all of us. Less than 2 minutes after the posts went up, my phone rang. On the other end was Lu Nguyen, her voice sharp with anger. Ki ba dat, have you lost your mind? If Dang Ton hadn't told me, I wouldn't even know you were capable of something this reckless. Before I get back, think of a way to return every car and clean up this mess. Otherwise, you'll deal with the consequences yourself. She hung up abruptly. Just before the call ended, I heard Dang Ton's voice, soft, aggrieved. I'm sorry, Sister Nguyen, I caused trouble for you. Her tone changed instantly, gentle and protective. What are you apologizing for? The one at fault is him. This has nothing to do with you. She wanted me to hear that. She thought, like always, I would quietly back down and clean up the aftermath. Because I never dared to go against her before. But this time, I was truly disappointed. And I had no intention of helping her anymore. My colleagues grew uneasy. Does CEO Lu know about this? Someone asked. Maybe we should return the cars. Otherwise, she'll push all the blame onto you. Others nodded. They tried to sound calm, but disappointment showed clearly in their eyes as they talked about handing the cars back. Earlier, I had only said this was a year-end bonus. I didn't explain further. Everyone assumed it was arranged by Lu Nguyen. Some even praised her, saying she had changed recently, that she finally knew how to reward people. That joy quickly turned into fear. One colleague, worried I would be punished, rushed to find the sales staff to return the car. I stopped him. Don't worry, I said, I'll handle it. That night, I went home and slept soundly. When I woke up, it was already past midnight. I heard movement at the door. When I stepped into the living room, I saw Lu Nguyen standing there, her face dark. She slammed her bag onto the table with a loud thud. She was trying to pressure me, waiting for me to apologize first. Like I always used to. In the past, I would have done exactly that. But this time, I only glanced at her, yawned, and said casually, "You're back?" She exploded. "You still have the nerve to sleep? I told you to take those cars back. Why hasn't it been done yet? Ki ba dat, you're getting bolder. I gave you a chance to fix this. And you ignored it. Before, what I feared most wasn't her anger, it was that she might harm her own health. I would always apologize immediately and rush to fix everything. Now, I answered calmly. Why should I fix it? I didn't do anything wrong." She froze. "What did you say?" I laughed lightly. "The least capable person in the company gets a year-end bonus. So what about the people who actually carried the company's performance? Do they deserve nothing?" Her face flushed with anger. "Dang Ton may not be outstanding. But he's new, that's already good enough. I believe next year he'll be at the top. And count how many mistakes the others made this year. I didn't even dock their salaries, that's already generous. How dare they ask for bonuses?" She went on listing their so-called mistakes. I found it almost laughable. Forgetting to water office plants. Submitting the wrong receipt. None of it affected real work. And every time, they corrected it immediately. For 4 years, they worked overtime without complaint, knowing how hard it was to build a company from nothing. Now that the company had grown, instead of recognizing them, She casually placed even more responsibility on their shoulders, without a trace of guilt. As for Dang Ton, he joined last year and rarely made mistakes simply because he did almost nothing. Shielded by her favoritism, he was so idle that even basic tasks went undone. And when he did make mistakes, they were serious ones, sending hundreds of messages to clients in the middle of the night, entering the wrong pricing in contracts, causing legal trouble and an 8 million yuan loss. He blamed it all on me. And she believed him, without hesitation. She deducted my entire annual bonus. Seeing my silence, she assumed I was, as always, reflecting and backing down. Her tone softened slightly. After the call, Dang Ton said starting a business isn't easy and wants to return the car. Why can't you learn from him? He's just a regular employee who joined last year. Yet he knows how to think for me. And you. I cut her off. Fine, if he returns his car, I'll ask everyone else to return theirs too. She was speechless. She would never let Dang Ton return the car. This wasn't the first time. No matter how careful she was with money, she always tried to secure benefits for him, regardless of pressure. She knew it, I knew it. She was simply protecting him, unconditionally. She pointed at me, furious. You're being childish. Ki ba dat. This is my final warning. Tomorrow, take back every car. Otherwise, don't stay at the company. Write your resignation yourself. Even if you're my boyfriend, I won't tolerate someone who doesn't obey. She stared at me, certain I would never leave. This time, I didn't compromise. I placed a folder on the table. I was planning to do this anyway. This is my resignation. Sign it. She froze. I had given up high-paying offers to help her start this company. I invested half my assets without taking a single share. I drank until midnight for deals. Showed up whenever called. Slept 3 or 4 hours a day. Worked until my heart nearly gave out. Now the company was thriving. Anyone else would have stayed. She laughed coldly. Are you sure? If you resign, you won't get any compensation. Even as my boyfriend, there's no exception. I nodded. I know, but I'm not leaving alone. I placed another stack of papers in front of her. These are their resignations. Over a dozen colleagues, the ones whose bonuses were deducted. They had endured long enough, her exploitation, her blatant favoritism. They had submitted these to me earlier. I tried to hold them back, telling them she wasn't always like this. They stayed, for my sake. This time, they were done. Her face darkened. A bunch of ungrateful people. I supported them for 4 years. And this is how they repay me? She tore the resignations apart and threw them into the trash. Fine, I won't pursue this. Consider it over. She pretended to be generous. But we both knew the truth. She couldn't afford to pursue it. Most of the company's real operations were in our hands. If we left together, the company would collapse. Let's end this here, she said. If I'd known you were this stubborn, I wouldn't have set up a year-end bonus in the first place. Those cars alone cost over 5 million yuan. Don't forget, that's also your money. You're just pushing our marriage plans even further away. She sighed, sounding heartbroken. I almost laughed. She had said things like this countless times before. Once, she handed me a bank card and told me she would deposit money into it every month. When it reaches 1 million yuan, she said, we'll get married. I trusted her completely. I even secretly added my own money to the account. But last month, when I checked by chance, the balance that should have been 900 yuan was only 500.000. I looked at the statements and finally understood. The money had been spent on dates and gifts for Dang Ton. Sneakers worth 20 yuan a pair, she bought more than 20 pairs in just half a year. Underwear priced at 2 yuan each, she bought 18 at once. Luxury seafood dinners for their dates, each table costing 80 yuan. Things I never dared to dream of, she spent on without hesitation. Yet when I wanted to buy myself a shirt that cost only 100 yuan, She accused me of wasting money and questioned whether I still wanted to get married. It was absurd. The one who never planned on marriage from the beginning to the end was her. I was about to say something when her phone rang. Lu Nguyen didn't look at me. She turned and stepped onto the balcony to take the call. I didn't know what was said on the other end, but when she came back, she was smiling, clearly in a good mood. Seeing me, she paused, then forced a polite smile. I have a client meeting. I need to go now. Think this through carefully while I'm gone. I didn't bother exposing her. I watched as she changed her outfit, switched handbags, and left. I picked up my phone and checked my bank account. Just moments ago, another 100 yuan had been deducted. The recipient was a bar, one that Lu Nguyen and Dang Tan often went to together. I stayed silent for a few minutes. Then I picked up my phone and called the police. When I arrived with the officers, Lu Nguyen and Dang Tan had just finished their drinks. In the noisy bar, filled with music and laughter, the two of them looked exhilarated. Sister Nguyen, Dang Tan said emotionally. I really didn't expect Brother Badat to cause so much trouble. And yet you still haven't abandoned him. You're incredibly patient. You built this company yourself and have such a strong career, yet you still have to comfort someone else. If it were anyone else, they'd have changed boyfriends long ago instead of putting up with this. He sounded indignant on her behalf. Lu Nguyen sighed, her tone helpless. There's no choice. He did contribute when the company was first founded. If I break up with him now, people will say I'm ungrateful. It's my fault for not judging people properly. When the timing is right, I'll find a way to let him leave. Every word went straight into my ears. I found it ironic. When we first started out, I had asked her why she wanted to take this path. Back then, I was a manager at a foreign company, earning a solid annual salary, enough to support a family. Starting a business was full of uncertainty and risk. She looked straight at me and said sincerely that she didn't want me to suffer alone. She wanted to walk this road with me, to go further together. Now, after I stepped out of my comfort zone and helped her reach where she stood today, she no longer wanted to walk beside me. She wanted to push me out of her life entirely. I wasn't sad. These words only confirmed what I had suspected for a long time. The police officer looked at me with sympathy. To avoid drawing attention, he asked the bar manager to call Lu Nguyen aside. After explaining the situation, she turned back to me in disbelief. Ki ba dat, what are you stirring up now? Just because of some money. You called the police? Was that really necessary? Dang Tan clutched his chest and breathed heavily. Sister Nguyen, I'm fine, he's gone too far. She hurried to comfort him, her eyes full of concern and pity. Then she turned and glared at me. Do you know Dang Tan's health isn't good? He can't handle stress. If something happens to him, how are you going to take responsibility? I remembered that winter, when the company was at its lowest point. I caught a severe cold and had a fever of 40 degrees. She told me to endure it, said it would build resistance. As a result, I was left with lasting breathing problems whenever the weather turned cold. She never cared. I let out a faint laugh. You're still laughing? She said coldly. Ki ba dat, you're truly heartless. If you're making such a scene over money, I don't think you're suitable to be my boyfriend anymore. Let's break up. I nodded. All right, let's break up. She stared at me, eyes wide in shock. She never thought I would actually agree. In the past, every time she mentioned breaking up, it was just a threat to get what she wanted. I always apologized, even when I wasn't wrong. This was the first time I truly accepted it. She pressed her lips together, as if she wanted to say something, but Dang Tan cut in. Brother Badat, I know you're jealous. Sister Nguyen only said that out of anger. She doesn't really want to break up. Don't agree so easily. He sounded like he was helping me, but I caught the smugness in his eyes. Sure enough, Lu Nguyen snorted coldly. Dang Tan, you don't need to explain for him. If it's a breakup, Then it's a breakup. I only hope he won't regret it later. She grabbed Dang Ton's hand and prepared to leave. I raised my hand to stop them. If we're breaking up, then what was taken should be returned, right? I glanced at the police officer. When I reported the case, I had already provided sufficient evidence that Lu Nguyen had used a large sum of my money without authorization. The officer nodded. If this is true, it's best to return the money immediately. Otherwise, if it goes to court, things will become much more complicated. Before she could respond, Dang Ton protested. He also used Sister Nguyen's card to buy dozens of cars. Why didn't she call the police then? I looked straight at Lu Nguyen. If you want to report it, go ahead. We've already broken up. If you want to settle accounts, we can calculate everything clearly. She wasn't unwilling to report it. She didn't dare. If we truly settled everything over the years, the money she owed me would be far more than 4 million. Dang Ton wanted to say more, but when he saw her pale face, he shut his mouth. She gritted her teeth, glared at me, tapped on her phone for a moment, then said coldly, "It's transferred. Are you satisfied now?" She shot me one last look, took Dang Ton's hand, and left. I apologized to the police, completed the procedures, and went home. The moment I stepped inside, I received a call from a colleague in finance. "Brother Ki Ba Dat, CEO Lu just withdrew another 4 million from the company fund. Reconciliation is coming up. Are you covering it again this quarter?" In the past, she often borrowed money from the company account. At first, she repaid it. Later, she forgot. When reconciliation came and there was no choice, finance always turned to me. I used my own savings to cover the gaps. I had mentioned it to her before. She only said it was because she trusted me. Last month, I finally discovered that most of the large expenses under her name were for Dang Ton. She never trusted me. She just treated me as the one who absorbed the losses. "No need to cover it anymore," I said. "Report it according to procedure. Don't come to me again. We've broken up." The finance colleague let out a long sigh of relief. "You finally woke up. Honestly, I was planning to advise you. Every time you covered the shortfall, it was nearly a quarter of the company's revenue. On the surface, it looks like CEO Lu is carrying the company, but in reality, it's you. Without you, she wouldn't have made it this far." After hanging up, I sat quietly for a while. I had always thought that as future spouses, we were one, that her difficulties were mine. Now I realized how wrong I was. Even outsiders could see what I had sacrificed. Only Lu Nguyen couldn't. Instead, she was trying every way to discard me. I knew she wouldn't let this go. Sure enough, in the following days, she and Dang Ton became even bolder. They no longer hid, they held hands openly in front of everyone. She stopped making excuses and directly handed my projects to Dang Ton, crediting him with the achievements. Today, as soon as I walked into the office, Dang Ton shoved a mop into my hands. "Sorry, Brother Ba Dat," he said with a smile full of mockery. "Sister Nguyen said the company just paid year-end bonuses, so finances are tight. We won't be hiring cleaners for now. Everyone will clean together. Management should set an example. You've done this before, so you can start." I knew he did it on purpose. This wasn't the first time. Before this, when Dang Ton ruined an important contract and I reprimanded him, Lu Nguyen used the excuse that I couldn't control my emotions, and punished me by making me clean the office for an entire week. "That's going too far." One colleague finally spoke up for me. Dang Ton glanced at him with contempt. "Then why don't you do it for Brother Ba Dat?" The colleague snapped. He grabbed the mop and threw it straight at Dang Ton. "Clean what? Ki Ba Dat, I honestly don't understand why we're still here. There are plenty of companies offering us jobs. Yet we stayed loyal and gave everything to this place. And what did we get? She's clearly trying to force us to leave on our own." Other colleagues immediately voiced their agreement. Just then, Lu Nguyen walked in, her face dark. To Dang Ton, it was like grabbing a lifeline. He rushed over and exaggerated the story. Lu Nguyen let out a cold laugh. You want to leave? Then go. A colleague couldn't take it anymore and stepped forward to defend me. But Lu Nguyen shot back instantly. You've all been bought by Ki Ba Dat. That's why you're speaking for him. Her words left everyone speechless. I found it ironic. From then on, whenever anyone defended me, she used the same excuse, being bought, to silence them. At this point, I knew staying no longer had any meaning. I began packing my things, preparing to leave. Seeing this, the others started packing as well. Lu Nguyen froze for a moment, then grew angry and was about to say something, but Dang Ton leaned in and whispered a few words to her. Her expression softened. If you want to leave, then leave. I won't stop you, but those who stay will get a 5 yuan raise every month. And once the company goes public, you'll get shares. Some colleagues stopped and looked at her in surprise. I knew why. She clearly didn't know the company was already on the brink. Recently, the finance department had submitted multiple reports, but she never bothered to read them. Near the deadline, they had no choice but to submit the full report as is. She didn't know that just last night, a competitor had already taken her to court. Yet here she was, thinking people truly wanted to stay. Seeing their hesitation, she grew even more smug. I'm very satisfied with your choice, she said. Tonight, investors are coming to inspect the company. As long as you perform well, I won't treat you unfairly. This year's year-end bonus is a car. Do well next year, and it'll be a house. She glanced at me arrogantly and stepped closer, lowering her voice. See, Ki Ba Dat, as long as there's money, even if you help them get cars. So what? They still care about benefits. As long as I give enough, they'll stay loyal to me. I parted my lips, about to speak. At that moment, the receptionist rushed in, flustered. CEO Lu, someone's here. Before she could finish, Dang Ton cut in loudly on purpose. It must be our investors. Right? Didn't they say they'd come tonight? Why so early? They must think our company has great potential. Lu Nguyen reacted quickly, curling her lips into a smile. She glanced at me provocatively. Just wait and see. It's too late to regret now. As soon as she finished speaking, noise came from the entrance. She hurried out to greet them, but after just a few steps, she stopped dead. 2 police officers walked in, showed their badges, and said sternly, Ms. Lu Nguyen, someone has reported you for misusing company funds and tax irregularities. Please come with us for an investigation. All eyes turned to Lu Nguyen. Almost no one noticed the flash of panic in Dang Ton's eyes. He recovered quickly, but I saw it. Lu Nguyen didn't notice anything unusual about him. Instead, she turned to me, frowning in accusation. Ki Ba Dat, haven't you handled the company's financial and tax issues? She reacted as if this were my fault. I laughed. That's not my responsibility. But you've always done it before, she said sharply. If you take it on, do it properly. If not, don't accept it. She sounded righteous, but only made me laugh harder. She had always said things like this. Because I didn't want her exhausted, I handled everything myself, big or small. Even when her demands were unreasonable, I took full responsibility. Seeing that I was no longer the same, no explanations, no arguments, she frowned and lowered her voice. No matter what, you're still my boyfriend, even if we fight or give each other the cold shoulder. You can't be so careless about something this serious. I never really planned to break up. And I never intended to fire you. Don't be so stubborn, okay? She sounded sincere. But I understood clearly. Breaking up and firing me had always been her real intention. She was only backing down temporarily because she needed me to clean up the mess. She probably thought that in a few days, everything would return to normal, and her favoritism would still belong to Dang Ton. Seeing me remain silent, she shot me an angry glance and turned to the others. Finally, Her gaze landed on the head of finance. You, go deal with this. The finance director placed his resignation letter on the table. I'm sorry, CEO Liu. I came today to resign. I'm still young, but your way of handling things makes me feel like I could be implicated at any time. It's better to let someone more capable take this job. As soon as he finished, other colleagues stepped forward and submitted their resignations one by one. Lu Nguyen's face went from pale to dark. You ungrateful people, she shouted. I raised you for so many years. And none of you know how to be grateful. When it really matters, no one helps. Dang Tan stepped forward and hugged her. Sister Nguyen, don't worry, even if everyone leaves, I'll stay. I'll always be by your side. The colleagues exchanged helpless looks. But his words softened her expression noticeably. She sneered. A bunch of ungrateful people, not even as good as someone who hasn't been here long. No one said anything else. Everyone knew there was no point. Time would reveal Dang Tan's true nature. As people continued packing, Lu Nguyen angrily grabbed a laptop. This is simple, she said, logging into the company account to replace the money she had withdrawn earlier. The moment the balance appeared, she froze. 10 million in debt? How can it be this much? She shouted furiously. Finance department, get over here and explain. The finance staff, startled at first, then laughed coldly. Everything is listed in the statements. You can review it yourself. The amounts I handled couldn't possibly reach this level. Did you abuse your authority to transfer funds? She ignored the explanation and turned angrily to the police. I want a formal case opened. Someone clearly abused company funds. The officers exchanged glances and stepped forward to assist with the review. During this, Dang Tan whispered. Forget it, Sister Nguyen. The company will earn this money back soon. This time, she didn't listen. Then how about we put this debt under your name, she snapped. Are you willing? He was caught off guard, stammering, unable to answer. Seeing his panic and hesitation, I already guessed the truth. Just like before, he had likely used Lu Nguyen's name to siphon money. The finance department had reported this in the past. But every time, she grew impatient. I approved the transfer, don't bother me. Eventually, no one dared question him anymore. Now, with no one left to cover for him, everything surfaced. The police quickly checked invoices and found that 5 million of the missing funds came from Dang Tan's expenses. Lu Nguyen stared in disbelief. Dang Tan immediately dropped to his knees in front of her, tears streaming. Sister Nguyen, they're framing me. How could I dare do such a thing? If you don't believe me, check my account. I still owe money. I've been wearing the same clothes for years. I don't even dare get surgery because I can't afford it. If I were really greedy, how could I let myself live like this? Even if I loved money, I wouldn't risk my life like this. He rambled desperately. But I noticed his eyes darting around constantly. He was thinking of another way out. Even so, she believed him. The fury in her eyes faded, replaced by pity. I knew she was wavering. It was always like this. As long as Dang Tan complained or acted pitiful, even if she had doubts, she would choose to believe him. The police suggested that Lu Nguyen continue cooperating with the investigation. After a few seconds of silence, she looked at Dang Tan, who was kneeling on the floor, and said calmly, forget it, it's just 10 million. Once the contract is signed tonight, the profit will far exceed that amount. She shot me a triumphant glance, then told the officers she would transfer the money to cover the shortage and promised to resolve the tax issues in accordance with the law. However, I knew better. Over the years, she had very little savings. The amount she needed to make up was no small sum. And sure enough, that very night, Lu Nguyen had to sell 2 houses registered under her name just to gather enough money. The contract was signed as planned. On her personal social media page, she posted a photo of herself standing beside the representative of the partner company. She was smiling brightly, her head tilted close to a woman wearing black framed glasses, who was also smiling warmly. The caption read, "Looking forward to a promising future of cooperation." What surprised me was how familiar that woman looked. I couldn't remember where I had seen her before, but something about the deal felt off. Still, I didn't dwell on it. At that time, my colleagues and I pooled together our years of savings and founded a new company. Thanks to our long-standing teamwork, operations quickly fell into place. My days became busy, but fulfilling. I was so occupied that I barely had time to deal with trivial matters. During this period, Liu Nhuyen secretly contacted some of my colleagues, offering attractive conditions to lure them back. Every single one of them refused without hesitation and immediately told the rest of us. The whole team treated it like a joke and laughed it off. But I felt something was strange. This behavior didn't match Liu Nhuyen's personality at all. Recently, she had been constantly showing off online about the projects she had secured. She even announced that, thanks to Dang Tan's recommendation, the company had brought in a new professional team. Under such circumstances, she should have been far too busy to think about poaching people. Not long after, I understood why. That day, we received a new project. The moment I reviewed the materials, something felt wrong. The requirements were extremely strict and detailed, yet the price offered was far below market value. I immediately contacted the client to clarify. After a few questions, their answers became evasive, clearly unprofessional. When I pressed further, they finally admitted the project had been handed over to us by someone else. Connecting the dots, I showed them a photo of Liu Nhuyen and Dang Tan. The client confirmed it immediately, it was them. They even said they would pay us an additional amount after completion. The number wasn't bad. I couldn't help but laugh. I said nothing more and hung up. That evening, Liu Nhuyen suddenly appeared at my office. She pushed the door open, sat down across from me, her posture lazy yet full of self-satisfaction. "KY Ba Dat, you already know about the project, right?" she said. "Name your price. Treat me as your client." Without hesitation, I exposed the truth. This project was originally designated by the partner for my team, wasn't it? Her face turned pale for a moment. I suddenly remembered a conversation I had once overheard between her and the woman with black framed glasses. Back then, the partner had clearly specified that my team would handle a certain project. But when I asked about it, Liu Nhuyen impatiently accused me of being arrogant, saying I thought no one else could do the job. I had been busy and gradually forgot about it. Now, everything was clear. I looked straight at her and knew my suspicion was correct. Liu Nhuyen stayed silent for a few seconds, then let out a cold laugh. "I only helped you because I felt sorry for you. Don't think your team is irreplaceable. Dang Tan's team isn't that much worse than yours." I smiled faintly, then let them handle it. "Don't use such underhanded tactics anymore." Her expression shifted from pale to flushed. In the end, she muttered a few words and left. I knew she wouldn't give up. As expected, she later approached my colleagues again, this time offering even better conditions. Even I was briefly tempted, but those who had worked with her from the beginning knew her too well. They understood that once the project ended, all promises would turn into empty words. So they refused, without hesitation. Left with no other choice, Liu Nhuyen handed the project over to Dang Tan's team. The outcome was still uncertain, but anyone with professional experience could easily see the difference between the two teams. I knew she would suffer heavy losses this time. What I didn't expect was how disastrous it would be. One day, just as we finished a major project and were celebrating, a colleague suddenly exclaimed, "Liu Nhuyen's company has been sued." We quickly checked the news. It turned out that after Liu Nhuyen submitted the results produced by Dang Tan's team, who had worked day and night for an entire month, the partner was not only dissatisfied but furious. They demanded that her company assemble an entirely new creative team. Liu Nhuyen stumbled through her explanation, trying to stall for time. When she realized the other party had lost patience, she was forced to admit the project had been done by Dang Tan's team. She tried every excuse, even appealing to personal feelings. The woman with black-framed glasses didn't care. She returned to her company and immediately instructed the legal department to file a lawsuit against Lu Nhu Yen for fraud. When I heard the news, I thought it sounded serious. But after reviewing the project deliverables from Dang Tan's team, I felt the partner had been rather merciful. The work didn't just miss the standard, it was so flawed that I doubted the team was truly professional. Avoiding every visually appealing point in the product took a certain level of effort. Everyone treated it as a joke and quickly shifted the discussion to our company's next steps. Although we had a stable client base, breaking through and increasing brand recognition would still take time. Fortunately, our past entrepreneurial experience taught us not to rush. After the meeting and a few rounds of drinks, everyone went home. When I arrived at my door, I saw Lu Nhu Yen sitting on the steps. Her eyes were red. The moment she saw me, she rushed forward, but I stepped aside. She stumbled into empty air, dissatisfaction flashing across her face. I calmly asked what she wanted. After a moment, she steadied herself and said in a trembling voice, "Ky ba dat, I finally understand how important you are. Please help me. Dang Tan's team can't handle it. The project will be ruined. I'm going to dismiss them all. Just come back." She said she had begged the partner. They promised to withdraw the lawsuit if we were willing to fix the project. She looked at me with tear-filled eyes, full of hope. In the past, I might have softened. Even if I resisted outwardly, I would have found a way to help her. But now, I was clear-headed. She wasn't truly remorseful, she was just panicking because she couldn't handle the situation alone. Once things stabilized, she would return to her old ways. More importantly, I refused to let the people who trusted me be used again. After some thought, I asked coldly, "What are the conditions? If we help you through this crisis, what do we get in return?" Her eyes lit up. "I'll improve your compensation. You'll all get more." I frowned. "That's it?" After hesitating, she added, "I know you don't like Dang Tan. If you come back, I'll dismiss him immediately. You won't have to see him again." "Anything else?" I asked. She thought hard but came up with nothing. Finally, she said, "If you have conditions, name them." I nodded. "Then listen carefully. First, every task in the company, big or small, will be handled by you personally, including watering plants and cleaning. No delegating. Second, you are not allowed to make any mistakes. One mistake, and all rewards and benefits are cancelled immediately." Her face turned from pale to red. She shouted, "Ky ba dat, are you serious? Are you treating this like a joke?" I looked her straight in the eye and laughed. "A joke? Isn't this exactly how you treated us before? We endured it, why can't you?" She froze, realizing I would never agree. She bit her lip and turned to leave. Before she left, her phone rang. I didn't know what the caller said, but her eyes suddenly brightened. She glanced at me coldly and said, "I told you, Ky ba dat, don't assume you're always right. Just because you won't help doesn't mean the world will collapse." I didn't know where her confidence came from. She left, smiling. The next morning, my colleagues informed me that a foreign company was looking for a long-term partner locally. Though we had some reputation domestically, we still lagged behind certain competitors. Entering the international market could be a breakthrough. After discussion, we decided to act immediately. However, the partner's schedule was tight. They were only staying one day and couldn't arrange a formal meeting. After checking their itinerary, we discovered they would attend a gala dinner. I quickly managed to buy 2 tickets at a high price, gathered our project plans and materials, and headed to the event. Unexpectedly, right at the entrance of the gala, I ran into Lu Nhu Yen and Dang Tan. "What are you doing here?" Lu Nhu Yen froze for a moment. Her eyes filled with surprise. I hadn't expected to see them either. Buying tickets had been difficult. I'd only managed to get 2 because a couple had fallen ill and transferred theirs to me. Given Lu Nhuyen's current situation, most of her old connections were keeping their distance to avoid trouble. That made me suspicious. I glanced at Dang Ton and caught a fleeting look of unease in his eyes. Before I could think further, Lu Nhuyen laughed. "You're here to look for foreign partners too?" she asked. I raised an eyebrow. "You as well?" She didn't answer. Her smile only grew brighter. "Ky ba dat," she said mockingly. "You really are living in a fantasy. Do you honestly think completing a few projects qualifies you for international contracts? Your company was just founded, yet you already have such ambitions. Be careful, too much desire can backfire." Something felt off, but I stayed silent and let her continue. "To be honest," she added, lowering her voice, "this time the foreign partner came here for us. Dang Ton met them yesterday. The contract has already been signed." She waved the folder in her hand proudly. "Don't embarrass yourself any further. You'd better go home and think about what to do next." Only then did I realize that the phone call she received last night was likely related to this. The more I thought about it, the stranger it felt. I looked at Dang Ton again. He quickly avoided my gaze, clearly flustered. I didn't believe he could secure such a major deal with just a few smooth words. Lu Nhuyen let out a cold laugh, studying my expression. "I know what you're thinking," she said. "You think Dang Ton isn't as capable as you. But as I told you before, he's exceptionally talented. As long as he's given enough space, he can surpass all of you." Dang Ton lowered his head and spoke softly. "Lu Nhuyen, there's no need to waste words on him. Let's go. The partners are waiting." She nodded. "Right, you reminded me." Then she turned back to me. "Just wait outside and hear the news of my success." As she walked in, I followed behind. I couldn't help but glance back at Dang Ton one last time, but only saw his figure disappear hurriedly into the crowd. I was about to say something to Lu Nhuyen, but before I could get close, she deliberately kept her distance. "Don't think getting close to me will make me help you," she said coldly. "Have you already forgotten how you treated me yesterday? Even if you regret it now, it's too late." She laughed dismissively, as if shaking off something unpleasant, took out her phone, made a call, and walked straight through the grand doors of the banquet hall. Watching her leave, my unease only grew. Just as I stepped inside, the business colleague with me tugged at my sleeve. "Ky ba dat, look, isn't that the person we're looking for?" I followed his gaze and saw a bearded foreign man chatting and raising his glass among the guests. I had reviewed his photo beforehand and immediately recognized him as the partner we needed. Ignoring Lu Nhuyen entirely, I led my colleague over. At first, I thought persuading him would be difficult. To my surprise, after reviewing our project materials, he was very satisfied. In slightly accented Mandarin, he said, "Actually, I plan to contact you tomorrow. I came this time specifically hoping to work with your team. That's why I said I would be leaving tonight." I was stunned. It turned out that one of our former clients, worried that he might be unfamiliar with the local market and easily misled, had personally recommended our team. The story about me gifting cars to colleagues at year-end left a strong impression on him, and he had already decided he wanted to collaborate with us. I felt both surprised and deeply moved. After some conversation, I couldn't help asking about Lu Nhuyen. The partner looked puzzled. "Sorry, I don't know her. I only heard that she seems to be having some trouble." At that moment, everything became clear. As the gala was coming to an end, I saw Lu Nhuyen rush out of the hall. Her eyes red, her steps unsteady as she bumped into people along the way. Just then, my phone rang. "Ky ba dat," a colleague said urgently. "Lu Nhuyen is finished." Dang Ton and his so-called project team were never legitimate. They were part of an organized scam. In just 1 month, they drained the company completely, leaving behind massive debts and legal trouble. The contract with the foreign partner was fake. It was only meant to distract her so they could disappear. Hearing this, I understood everything. Dang Ton had arranged a fake partner to buy time. But the plan unraveled when Lu Nhuyen entered the gala and impulsively tried to show off her success in front of everyone. She tried calling Dang Ton, no answer. Then she called his team, no one picked up. Realizing something was wrong, she contacted the authorities. Eventually, it was confirmed that Dang Ton's group was a professional fraud ring. The assets were long gone. Lu Nhuyen lost both her company and her reputation, falling into total collapse. Later, I heard that she couldn't withstand the shock. During a confrontation with Dang Ton, an extreme incident occurred, leaving him with severe injuries and permanent consequences. After that, Lu Nhuyen suffered a complete mental breakdown and was sent for long-term treatment. The remaining members of the group were arrested and sentenced according to their crimes. By the time I heard all this, our team had already signed the cooperation agreement with the foreign partner. Our new company had officially begun a promising new chapter. That's the end of today's story. If you enjoyed it, please like the video, subscribe to China Story Tales, and stay tuned for more stories.